Welcome. Thank you everybody for coming on this really cold and bitter night. It really was a struggle for me to come here, so I really appreciate everybody else making the effort. And it's a really important meeting, as you know, as I keep saying in the newsletter. So I'm very much pleased for you coming. And I welcome our online guests. Have we got some online guests? Waving. Oh, waves. Hello. How many have we got? Five. So thank you all for coming. Crack on with the meeting. We have apologies for absence. In this. Yes. Sorry. Good coordination here.
Okay. Apologies. Margaret Angus, Sophia Wellsby, Graham Andrew, Helen Warwood, Ellie Lodge, Picton Pamrose, Sarah Nendick, Giselle Dyson, and somebody else.
Kim.
Yes.
Kim.
Oh, Kim Broughton. Yes.
Kim Broughton.
And Linda Hughes also. Yeah.
£10 fine for each and every one of them.
Ooh, harsh.
Did you reckon someone that
Probably, but
You can just okay.
okay. So we'll run through the order of the agenda, and the next item is the approval of the minutes of last year's AGM. Mislabeled when I sent it to you, the minutes of 2024, but that's just to check who was watching. Actually, on the document it said 2023. It's been out twice now. Not had any comments. Unless there are any comments from the floor, then I invite you to approve it by a show of hands.
We need a
Proposer and a second. Good second I've used. That's 2 seconds. Just a second. Excellent.
You have to sign it. Every page. With your signature.
But mine tends to vary.
I'll compare it to last year's, every page.
Thank you very much, everybody. Also circulated our reports and we can't, Kate, I don't know if you'll talk separately, but certainly. Okay, well.
As soon as I've got them back from the auditor, I'll send them out audited.
Okay. So you've had the reports. Does anybody have any comments on the reports? Anything that you'd like to raise? Certainly.
The safety aspects.
Oh.
I just wondered whether, do we have a defibrillator? Or
We
should we have a defibrillator?
We do not have one. The closest one is the church.
Spring pub.
No, it's the church. I think St Mary's Church Hall is the closest. I think that's close. I don't think there's one at Springtime.
What about Bournemouth?
There is probably one at
It is
Bournemouth,
on my
but
way.
I think the church is closer if you
Yeah,
cut
straight
through the
up Mill
back.
Lane.
Yeah. You
I
cut
just
through
thought,
Mill Lane.
because of the nature of the, because, using dealing with bees and maybe getting stung and maybe there's been
I think it's a very good question. I don't actually know.
you have not much chance if you've got to roll all the way to somewhere else.
No.
So,
Are we required to have one by our insurer?
no.
All those other things, Stuart.
So, we can talk about, if you want to, we can talk about health and safety and that, so John and I did go on a course for Men's Shed, and they did a very good course on defibrillation and using a defibrillator. We are organising something for January for a club session. Haven't quite got the date yet, I don't think.
21st of January.
The 21st of January.
Thank you, Howard.
For a session here on how to do CPR and using a defibrillator, so you have a go with a dummy, so that everybody knows. But to be honest, I know that there have been people with heart attacks here. Well, I know one anyway. But thanks, Steve. If we were to, we can't cater for everything that's going to happen to everybody. And if somebody goes into anaphylactic shock from a sting, then we call an ambulance. There's not a lot we can do, apart because we're not allowed to use the EpiPen.
No.
So we have to call an ambulance. And CPR and a defibrillator isn't going to be that much use.
No, but I wasn't just thinking of stings and
No, I realise that.
the,
But, yeah,
Well, I think
the
it's a good.
demographics of the people
yes.
in the town.
Very politely put, Leslie. Thank you.
It would probably need to be outside, so it's made more generalised. rather than
Yeah.
inside.
But it'd have to be hung on the fence.
We can also knock on next doors, the
Samaritans.
Samaritans, they may have one. They are a foreign organisation.
Well, I think it's a good question and something we will actually look into.
So, but there is some training happening on the 21st of Jan. So
That's a lot of costing.
Well, that is another consideration.
They have to be replaced every year, don't they?
I've no idea.
Yeah, there is a light.
yeah, they have a battery line or something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll look into it and we can report back. But thank you very much for that. Anybody else? Any questions on our lovely reports?
On the finances.
Yes.
Should we do the reports first and then the finances second?
Okay, no problem.
So,
No?
we have a gorgeous set of reports. Do they need to?
No, they don't have to be signed or anything.
Oh,
Just
that's
say
fine. Thank you very much indeed.
Right, finance.
Finance. You may now ask a question. Yes, you can have your question.
Sorry, Leslie.
I was just looking at the room hire and I wanted to understand who you are. I mean, is this hired out to others organisations?
The room hire is normally when Surrey hold exams here and we charge,
Alright.
we charge to them.
And we have had some private parties here, which is fine. And we did,
And we had
the
Surrey,
SPK
yeah, Surrey
did
meeting.
their AGM, didn't they?
Mhm.
I mean,
No,
Oh, okay.
there are just Surrey meetings. But those are mostly online now, but yeah,
so,
it's kind of mostly bee-related stuff that the room's hired out.
I just thought now that we've got it all nice and the roof doesn't leak and all that, whether there is opportunities to expand.
well, I think that's a good point, and it is something that we are looking to expand on. I mean, if we look at, when we talk about the plan, the draft club plan, about networking with other organisations that don't have clubhouses, then, there's an opportunity here to generate some revenue and help them at the same time. So, I think it's a resource that we can carefully use. Yes, thank you.
Another question.
You've got another question?
I didn't read them all.
Well, no, I think that's good.
In your account, I noticed that your electricity bill for this year
Not mine.
was about half what it was for the last year.
Yeah.
I just fixed it on a special tariff.
I wondered how you did it.
Octopus.
I'm really interested.
No, Octopus. We've offered something.
Oh, did they?
Fixed tariff, but it's gone up again. I just seem to be using more electricity again.
Oh.
It was fixed for a year.
There's a lot of hard, it's been doing a lot of hard work in the background,
Credit, all credit to you.
especially in the health and safety.
I did wonder whether it was a misprint or something.
No.
No,
It was really,
yes.
really
An amazing.
The only person that does misprint is me, not me.
What a name.
Thanks very much.
No, thank you.
On the agenda.
Yes, I.
So, are we okay to approve the accounts?
So as soon as they're audited, I will circulate them again. Yes, please, can we all
Yeah, but as we are prepared to set the draft accounts. The auditor's moving house, that's why there's a delay. So we need a proposer. Steve?
And a seconder? Oh, John. Moving along.
So,
Election of your.
don't need to do this one.
Yes, please.
So, so we're now moving on to the election of the committee. So we'll start with the chairman. We persuaded Stuart, as you'll see, his arms aren't quite broken, to stand as chair again. It's been proposed by Howard and seconded. Howard's at the back there for those who don't know, and seconded by Nick. And there's nobody else who's stood for chair.
Yeah, actually,
And you're Stuart himself.
Yeah.
He wants to do it.
no, they did that. So.
It's also
Yeah.
I mean, I can forge some signatures, but not that one. So is everybody okay with Stuart continuing? Excellent. So we've got the proposal in a second, just so that's done. So we now need to do the committee officers. And so, once again, for the secretary, one person has decided to stand. So, John, would you like to stand up so people can see you? And he has been proposed by Kate. Wave your hand. And Jenny, seconded by Jenny, who's making tea. So has anyone got any objections to that?
Cast your stone down. Thank you.
So membership secretary, Kim is standing down. She's been the membership secretary for a few years now. After I persuaded her it was a good idea to do it. She's still not talking to me. Anyway, no. So Angela, would you like to weigh in? And Angela has very kindly said that she would do that. She has been proposed by me and very quickly seconded by Kim. So is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Treasurer, Kate, who does a fantastic job, is prepared to stand again. She has been. She's been proposed by somebody. What's it? No,
next to it.
Hello, that's not. Okay.
Yeah, just put me down as proposal.
Okay. Thank you.
So proposed by Jenny and seconded by Fiona. Anybody want to challenge that? No? Just not sure. Okay, then we'll move on to the ordinary committee members. So we have some new ones. So I think it's probably easier just to go through them individually, if that's okay. And we'll just do it quickly. So
Get them to stand up.
let me just, yeah, we will. So,
That's Nick's blue.
oh yeah, sorry. Right, here's a new one, that's fine. I'll put it in later. Okay, so existing committee members, apart from the ones we've already talked about, is Nick. So everybody okay? Nick's been proposed by Stuart and seconded by Howard. Yeah, everybody okay with that? Excellent. And then we've got the new people who, or semi-new, and then we've got new. So semi-new is people who've already joined the committee to take over roles, even though they weren't elected at the previous AGM. So this is the first time they've been elected. So we've got Howard, who is taking over the role as education person. And so he's organising what happens on the Tuesday evenings and also ish. With, no, sorry, not doing. He's doing everything except that.
He's doing that as well, but it wasn't part of my.
No, his exams, experience days, and quarterly, and he's also working with Liz on the Tuesday evenings. As Liz is stepping back a bit from all of that. It's been proposed by Stuart and seconded by Angela. Are you happy with that? One of the people stepping down from the committee is Helen Warwood, and as you know, her latest role was running the shop. So Nigel has been on the committee for a while and is taking over running the shop from Helen. He has been proposed by me and seconded by Angela. Is everybody okay with that? And now you all know who he is, from the shop point of view. And then we've got a new person. Very brave. So we've got Nick de Boer. Nick, would you like to stand up? Yeah. Who has been proposed by.
You have to stand up, Nick.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm trying to it's multitasking.
Well, that's fine. I'll just do it. So I'm happy.
John is one of the proposers, isn't she?
But, I think Dana is. She's working away.
Donna's the seconder. So
Yeah.
John, I'll put you as the
Yes, so that's my
proposer. That's okay.
one.
So that's the committee.
Yeah, fun,
Everybody,
but-
is that?
Yes.
Okay, so they're the normal committee members. I say normal. The other thing I've got to say is Nick is our webmaster. He looks after the website, and as you can see, he's plugged into the technology. So
I tried doing
okay, everybody okay with all of that? The next one is the trustee, so you better do that.
Can I just ask a question?
So,
Yes.
you know,
Are there any other committee members that haven't been put forward?
No,
no, everybody who volunteered to be on the committee.
that's the
And what about other tasks? That's the word.
wow.
What's the situation?
Yes, do you want to talk about subcommittees a bit later?
Yeah, I'll cover a bit of that in the
Okay, fine.
presentation.
Yeah,
But one of the things that we have done, Angela and Nick have been very good in, and indeed Kim and Helen have been excellent. They've been shadowing both the previous role holders over a matter of months. And that process has, I think, given us dividends. And it's something that we now know we've got two very able people in place, and also gives us a very good handover. So it's a process that we'd like to look at doing more of. And we thank both parties, the exiting party and the incoming parties, for their hard work in getting up to speed. We thank Howard in just leaping in and doing it in his own inimitable way. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Right, so we have a committee trustee, an actual trustee, which is the official role of reporting into the SBKA, and our representative there, and separate nomination, so that Jill has been nominated by Kim and Kate, and has not decided not to do it. I can say nothing or not. So, can I ask if that is approved?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Done.
that's the election of the committee. Normally we do it en bloc, but because there are new members, I thought it's better for people to stand up and introduce themselves this one. Okay, over to you, Stuart. I think the review of the member survey.
Right.
And the EGM.
Each.
Get on now.
Obviously, me, by it's time, no. Okay, sleep, won't they? Oh, it depends whether they can sleep. Right,
Shelley Linda.
Can our Zoom audience hear everything? So what we've done, as you all know, we've had our an EGM and an online survey, and this presentation is, I thought, would be an easy way of feeding back to members the results of the survey. I have covered some of the results of the EGM in the newsletter, and this. I can go on to the next one. Thanks. There you go. That's essentially what I'm saying. Can you read it, or do you like the lights down? That's fine. Everybody. Okay. So this basically is a presentation based on our EGM and online survey, and we had a good turnout at the EGM with online people attending, and 65 of our members responded to the online survey, which by anybody's measure is a really good response. I don't think I've done any surveys or been involved in any surveys where we've had such a good response. That's about 59% of our members. So it's a good response. And I think it's encouraging for us as we go forward. We're looking at how we use that input. So some basic stuff as we started the survey. Whoops. So I think there's no surprise in the result of this particular one. How long have you been a member? Majority have been a member for more than 5 years, and more than half of those people that responded. And obviously we've got a core of new members coming in. So really I'd say the profile there is pretty much what any one of us would say is the profile of our members. Probably could have actually, when I look at the survey design, I could have been a little bit more intensive in asking some of the questions there to try and pull out how many people have been really long-term beekeepers. But that's the learning process, and especially as we look at how many years experience, which is the next one, Nick, sorry, which again shows a similar sort of distribution, of profiles of members. But it would have been good, especially as we start looking at how we can involve some of our more experienced beekeepers to actually drill down a little bit more in asking a question. But the fact that we've had such a good response and people are being patient doesn't mean that we might not do another survey and see that. And the online survey seemed to be the best process rather than my rickety Word one, which was quite an interesting process for people trying to fill in. So thank you to Nick for doing that for me. We bung on to the next one, Nick. I hope this one comes out and you can see it. But basically, 45, how many hives do you have? 45% people have more than 5. Interestingly, 20% of people who responded said they don't have any, which is an interesting result. I know that a number of people have stepped back from beekeeping in recent times, but it also shows probably also interest there in people who may not want to be a beekeeper but are happy to be involved in some way with an organisation as a beekeeping organisation. And again, it's one of those things that we can try and explore with the members to see what exactly is the nature of that relationship that those people want. But that was an interesting result, I thought. Here is one that I actually thought, well, I could have asked a different question. But so we have 27% of our members, or the people that responded, have their apiary with 5 to 10 miles of Yule/Epsom. 40%, and then 6% are actually in Yule/Epsom. But so I could have actually, you see, what I could have done was actually drawn down from these and drilled down to actually split these figures to try and work out the finer detail. But that didn't occur to me till afterwards. But interestingly, of the responders, 40% are very lucky and they've got them in their garden, which I'm very envious of them because mine's miles away. But there's no way I'm going to convince my wife to have bees in the garden. But that's an interesting statistic, and it'll be interesting to see how people handle that with neighbours, etc., and what they find easier. A lot of people like me have got out apiaries, and I expected to be the other way around, actually, those two. But that was an interesting result. So those were sort of generic questions. Just drilling down, building on some of the responses from the EGM, asking what activities do members most enjoy. Beekeeping workshops definitely came out on top. 40% of people, 26% of the 65 people who responded. They liked the workshops. Guest speakers, not that we've had a lot, but they certainly is something that people like. And not a surprise, practical demonstrations, and we know that those goes down well, and we have good response at the club for practical demonstrations. Social events, and I very cleverly put other, but I don't know, probably like me, they didn't know what other meant, so they didn't get many responses to that. But social events certainly had a response in there, and I think that's something that we can use as we look forward to a plan. So next slide. So what activities or events would you like the club to organise? So this one came up at the EGM quite strongly, and that was the Garden Beekeepers Question Time. And that was a very strong 46%. Discussions on the latest news and beekeeping books is also a strong front runner. So that's something that I would like to explore as we start to look at how we might split actual face-to-face social activities with perhaps digital or web activities. Not Welsh, sorry. I don't know where that came from, actually. Sorry, it's really Welsh. And then, interestingly enough, field trips. Now, I'm not aware we've ever done any field. Oh, we have done field trips.
Yeah, we did some quite good wildflower meadow field trips where we invited someone in from the Woodland Trust to took us around and identified.
I think that's a really good idea. I think it's something.
It was a lovely summer's evening.
Yes.
Field trips are a really good idea, basically to help learn and socialise. And there are plenty of interesting places around here and organised programs, I think, that would be happy to. So that's encouraging. So, I mean, I'm a mere newbie here, really, but that's great. Nick, if you would like to give me my next slide. Separate club meetings, that was mentioned, but the response not really huge there. The biggie was the programme of Year 2 Improver training, which is something that Howard and John and all are looking at, the education team are looking at now, how we can actually improve our training in Year 2. I think it's one that was mentioned quite clearly at the EGM, and obviously it's been picked up again in the questionnaire, where we can actually begin to help our newbies as they grow into experienced beekeepers. And the creation of a member club panel, also a club mentor panel for beginners, also very popular response there. So, it's a good sampling, I think, of people's interest. Yeah.
Excuse me, can I ask, why did you pick on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
Oh, in the EGM, and you'll see in one of the comments, some people found that that Tuesday is a difficult day, and it was moved. We had a little sort of debate as to whether Tuesday was a good day for people. And so that was that was the reason behind that question. I haven't seen a strong response for moving the date.
I thought any day. You
Well, that's right.
Yeah, no. Well, that is the thing. I mean, where do you go? And then, I mean, I could do a doodle poll, but I think that would probably drive me mad, or more mad than I am now.
One of the suggestions was having one meeting on a Tuesday in a
Right.
month and another meeting on a Wednesday in the month.
Well, yeah.
So if people couldn't make any Tuesday, then maybe they could make a Wednesday. Howard is putting their hand up.
Yeah, my worry on that is if we have alternate Tuesday and Wednesdays, everybody will show up on a Tuesday when it's a Wednesday meeting.
Yes.
Show up on a Wednesday when it's a Tuesday meeting, and then everyone will be shouting at me verbally and by email.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to explore, though, what we, as we go forward, what we could do with both face-to-face meetings and using online, because it's convenient for a lot of people, and those meetings could be ones that we could engineer for some of the interests that have been flagged up, like news, beekeeping equipment. But I'm getting ahead of myself now. Certainly the creation of a mentor panel for especially for for beginners, but I think for everybody would benefit from that experience of having mentors that we can go to. So my next slide, really, I thought I'd show you there were people who gave me some selected comments. Sorry, they gave me comments and I've selected them. I haven't edited them too much, apart from some spelling mistakes, like what I make. So those are a few there. People keen but making time. It's a common difficulty. Tuesday's difficult, but then people find the Zoom useful. Beekeeping clinic. Creating a regular register of contact details resume of more experienced beekeepers. That's a theme I want to come back to. And sharing evenings with other groups of non-beekeepers was an interesting comment. So I'll switch back into the survey. So I really wanted to know what the level of interest was there in actually taking part. Especially as one of the questions was, we have a committee and we have opportunities for other people to get involved in discrete activities, one of which being the gardening and the upkeep of the apiary, and of course the maintenance of this asset that we've got here, our clubhouse. So quite a good level of interest. 30%, 20 of the 60 odd saying that they'd be interested in a monthly or bi-monthly gardening group. And probably equal in interest in employing other skills. Actually, obviously the numbers, less people responded to that question. What more can the club do to engage with the wider public? I think if I asked any one of you what we could do, people would say the same thing: schools, other interest groups, and attend more local events. So I think we would say that's pretty much what we'd like to do and what our beekeepers would expect us to do, our members. Second batch of comments on slide number 11. I'm not going to kill you all by PowerPoint, don't worry. So I think I won't read these. Someone finding the WhatsApp site very good. So I think that's an interesting feedback on the digital side. I love the thing that the club is a huge support mechanism for me. I think that's a very nice piece of feedback, and as a credit to people that train and also come to the club. Obviously, there's ideas for what we might do. And then I think this quote really sums up what we're talking about, which is, like many clubs, I apologize if you can't read it, beekeeping has a traditional and continuing dropout rate. COVID has left a legacy in people's minds and actions that you do not need to engage with others, but face-to-face. but can exist as an entity in cyberspace. Yeah, we need to encourage people that you need to get off your bottom, come to club meetings, meet other people, seek information, give advice, help each other practically. Otherwise, there's very little point in having a club, which effectively is almost our mission statement for this. So, I mean, I think it's really where we are. And I think we've had some interesting feedback. Oh, I've just anticipated my next slide, which is where do we go from here? So I think, you know, this familiarity, that both the EGM and the survey really reflected back what most of us would say. There isn't any news there, real news there, but I think there's certainly what I found encouraging was the level of response and the level of interest in people saying they'd like to get involved. So I am putting together, or with my colleagues on a committee, but I've just put a draft plan together, which I'd like to show to you to just sort of pull out all the bits and pieces of the survey and the EGM, and perhaps put them into a structure that we can use as a plan for this year. It's not the 10 commandments, it's just a working plan. So it's really there to be a practical to-do list. And I put them under 3. I come from a corporate background, sorry, so I immediately slip into objectives and things like that. So I try not to be to that. But basically, 3 to-dos. Kirstana would love me. 3 to-dos. I'm Maggie. Thatcher.
And Tony.
And Tony Blair. That's true. But there you go. So three to-dos. Foster greater engagement among members. Ensure we're fit for purpose as a club. And extending our community outreach. So those are our 3 top line bullets. And this plan, as it is here, is open for discussion. I'd like to make a start on it with comments that come through today and when I send it out later, to make a start on it in December and January and really start some of the processes. You will see as we go down through that actually some of my able colleagues, John, Howard, others, have actually started some of this with our club plans. And you know that we've got, now we've increased our meetings, club meetings to 2 meetings a month, which with people's help, we're beginning to fill, but we need to populate that. But we're going to have 2 meetings a month per year. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So we are starting this course, but I really would like to get your approval for an outline structure for what we might do. So moving into objective 1. Yeah. Okay. So pulling out some of those comments and putting them into like a framework. So that fostering greater engagement, we want to help our new members and the early beekeepers. And one of those things that came up at the EGM was having a friendly face at the club. So really having a rota of people that are here to take that role on. Introducing our year 2 improver training scheme and creating that club mentor plan. So actually going ahead and trying to create those under that bullet point. Introducing a 4 years program of twice monthly club meetings. So that's actually us looking at how we might fill that program in with a bee well-being health calendar, you know, the things that we normally go through in the yearly activities, plus social, plus workshops, plus those, but filling in that long list of 52 weeks with activities that are key activities in the bee year, plus other activities, so that we've got that program that people can see and choose, probably make time for and come along to. So we've got, again, an active club. Creating the mentor panel. Sorry, I said that. So social events, I think, are very intrigued by the feedback we've had online. So I'm actually going to look at, with your approval, and actually when we come to how we can actually do this, look at how we can create facilitated online discussion groups. Give it a go in the early part of next year with a facilitator and a topic, and have a Zoom meeting effectively on a topic and see how that goes. And we can then pop that into our program of events. It can fit in, follow up a face-to-face meeting, or it can be held separately. And that's where it also gels with that other piece of feedback we had, where people said, I can't come on a Tuesday, but I do like WhatsApp and social activities on digital. Certainly beekeeping equipment meetings seem to be very popular, and we've had some of our best turnouts on the equipment that's come through. So that's something of interest for everybody. Competitions, everybody likes the competition. Don't know how often we do them, but I think the competition is a great idea. And then I pulled out that one, the membership financed field trip. So that is really members paying for a trip. Could be up to London, it could be wherever, but that'd be something that could be organised and then people come along as a group. So that would be pulling out those things and the responses from the quiz under that particular objective. Moving on. Right, so we'll ensure we're fit for purpose. This is really drills down to the crux of the whole matter. It's creating that register of experienced beekeepers and those with particular skills. Really is getting to know people, especially the people that have responded to the survey. Now, one of the things I did with the online survey was we didn't have emails for people who responded. That may or may not have been a mistake, but it means that certainly people responded with a positive way. And now what we would like to do from amongst those people that responded, drill down and see just how keen they are to get involved in some of the things that have just been suggested. And we would be looking to them to lead or participate in discrete projects and or working projects. So like the gardening group or a property maintenance group or whatever. And these would be things that we would agree a leader, agree people who can pop in, pop out, look at discrete activities and get those things going that we know we need to do basically around the organisation. Introducing role shadowing, I mentioned that earlier. It was a bit of a squeaky moment beginning of last year when some of our very able people were stepping back, and we really needed to have people have that experience and bring it and actually take on the role who know and have learned from previous role holders. So really having club-wide role shadowing throughout everything that we do, really put that in place as a not too onerous administrative activity, refreshing the job descriptions. We haven't got job descriptions for a lot of things we do. And like Howard, you'd probably get one that expands as you put yourself forward. But we need to have some job descriptions and make it fun as well. And created, if needs be, because some of these roles are quite demanding, offering free or paid training and mentoring to those people who are putting themselves forward. My final point there was safeguarding the clubhouse and apiary for the immediate future. We do need to renew our lease, and that is something that yours truly has been saying he's going to do for the last 12 months, but that's something I put up there as something we need to do. We need to actually bite the bullet with our local authority and just make sure that they are aware of us, they can give us some sort of deal, and we can carry on and actually perhaps leverage that as we look to perhaps going to other organisations to get some money to help us, because our roof is a little bit sensitive. That's a bit like my hair, it's fading. And then our final, mission objective is extending our community outreach. Well, I've just listed those. They were the ones that people said they'd be like to, that we should do. Of course we should. And this is something that we should be doing, inviting other beekeepers and non-beeting groups, creating a schools program. I'd like to, a lot of people do go and talk to schools. That's great. I think we should be uniform in our approach. I think we should know who we're talking to, and we should have a considered plan to go out and know who we're talking to and who we might be talking to, and especially local schools and groups. So really, making that part of the process not too onerous. This is supposed to be fun, but certainly making it part of the plan. So all of these points are really a skeleton on which to hang things so that we know as we go through the year. The key steps, one of the key steps, and one that we now have quite a desperate need for, is to create and fill the role of an events manager. Someone who can work with the committee, identifying what events are coming up, work with key volunteers like Jill to actually go along and sell or talk about beekeeping, etc. But someone who has responsibility, not necessarily a committee member, but someone who reports in. In the same way, this person would have a discrete role. We would probably look at something like that for the working parties on gardening and the house. Have someone who basically can be given a budget, can be given control of a group, and then just report into the committee to say, I need more money, or this is what needs to be done, etc. So it's really, those are steps that we need to look at. And one of the key ones is defining the skill sets that we need for all of those roles. So underneath all that, next slide, sorry. Basically, the bottom line to all this is it's a big wish list, and it ain't going to do nothing unless people get involved. It's great to have you here. It's great to have the response to the surveys, but we really do need to get people involved. This is a back to basics plan, but we deliver it. We need to build on the wonderful pool of volunteers that we've got and create new volunteer groupings. So one of the things I'm proposing is that we go out now to the wider membership with a request for those people to come forward, identify themselves, tell them their skills. They might not like it, but we certainly need to do that. If we don't do that, we don't find out what people are there and what they're going to do, and build on what we've just talked about and use that structure, then we basically, I think we just coast along. And to use that quote that was given to us, it will just really fade away. We'll continue to be an active club, I think, but we won't have an opportunity to grow or become something more, or establish ourselves in the community. So really, this I have underneath this. So each of just to show you that I have been thinking about it, that each of the objectives, we have what we will do, processes, when we will do it, how it will be done, what will it cost. With your comments and approval, we'll start on this process. So over to you.
So what are your thoughts? You've just glossed over them, but what
I don't. I'm asking you. I have. Well, I can tell you what.
You're the one who's.
That was email, wasn't it?
No, not this bit.
Oh, okay.
No. Well, what do you? You're the chairman. You tell us what you think is worth looking at. You're the one who.
I think what I've done is, under those three objectives, pulled out the things that the members have said that they would be interested in doing.
Right.
Under that, we then have how are we going to deliver that?
Yeah.
So there's two parts to that. One is the structure to that, and we would include so if I look at helping new members, so we'd help club members with skill. We identify those club members that have the skills and coaching with skills, time, and motivation to fulfil the roles. Establish a coaching structure with a plan based on existing training scheme activities. Ensure all new members are offered an opportunity to advance through a phased development plan. That sounds very posh, but basically it's taking you from the initial beekeeping training and saying this is the process you can go to get your basic exam, or if you don't want to take your basic exam, these are the steps you can take to improve your beekeeping in year 2. Assemble a group of qualified member beekeepers with more than 3 years experience who can commit to be available on digital media or personal or beginner groups. So under that one section, that's one of the pieces. So that's something that could be circulated, but my principal main thing tonight is to get feedback on the generic structure that I've put, and most importantly, to emphasize 2 things. One, people said they were interested, they responded very quickly, but the onus actually is not on me to tell people, the onus is on the membership. We have 111 members. Some of those members are going to be quite content not to get involved, but we now know that there is a core of people who said they might be more involved. And by doing the survey, we know that there are certain things that excite our membership and they would like to be doing. So what I'm seeking feedback from online and here is, do you agree? If you do agree, do you support the idea of now going out, I was going to say more aggressively, but that's the wrong word, but more forcefully to our membership and saying, of those people who said they're going to do it, come forward, give us your name, contact details, and your skill sets, and then let us have a conversation with you about some of those roles and activities that are there. And then we will string and begin to build a plan for the future. We won't get all of that done in 2024, but we've got, it's a little starting point, isn't it? It's a framework to hang things on. So that's when I say, yes, actually, it's encouraging, but it's back to the membership and back to you to reflect your views back to me and my colleagues on the committee.
Sure, yes, wholeheartedly all of that. As I say, because of my personal circumstances to change, I can come on Tuesday night and do what I can. Is there any, the very time I try and park in here, it's murders. Is there some way we can get a better plot? And it's a big thing, put this on the low we can go to it. We'll expand on it.
No. I don't know.
That's what Friday did.
Yeah, they've changed it because on the street now is all residential only. I mean, obviously there's Bourne Hall car park, but I think you still have to pay a minimum fee. But obviously that's close to walking.
I mean,
it is.
It is a problem. It is a problem. But again, that may be that as we've noted in the survey and the EGM, maybe as certain things we split it. And as long as everybody knows what everybody's doing, we could do that. We can do our working parties. We can have our particular social events here. Was there ever an occasion where we had more than 60 people here for events? I'd love to have that, but we look to see how that's a great problem to have when it arises.
When Samaritans use parking spaces, they park up here.
Yeah.
But at this time of night, their car park's empty.
It could be that we
could do, but we could park in there up to certain times.
So isn't the car park up here theirs?
this is yeah.
No, they've got.
I know they've
They got
got
another
another one, but I think
Yeah.
the one out here is theirs.
No, that's not.
Whose is that?
No.
Who-
Well,
whose is-
it's common land.
So that's just council.
Yeah.
Was it
The only land they've got is behind the gate.
So that's
Well,
where
that's
part-
there,
yeah.
that goes with
Okay.
the building
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But maybe we could say to them, we're a charity, and you know, if you're not using it after a certain
Engage
time,
those.
could we possibly park a few cars
Yeah.
there?
Well, that's something different.
I think the guy that we've been contacting
Um,
before is still there.
I don't,
Don't know, but-
yeah, I've got his-
You mentioned just now
Mm.
that there's no written responsibilities that committee members have.
There are roles,
There are roles.
yes,
Right.
for the.
Why don't you speak to the committee, some of which are here tonight,
Mm.
and ask them to make a list of their roles and responsibilities?
Yes.
Done that.
Yeah, we've done that.
We've done
Had
that.
it
Oh,
over.
well,
Yeah.
sorry.
See it.
I think we have, yeah.
Well, for instance, let me just give you a for instance. When I ran the shop here, I also was responsible for elderly beekeepers getting rid of their equipment.
Yeah.
Now, who does that then?
I don't.
That does the new, that's the sort of the question.
But I think that we're going to go down into,
Yeah.
that's a bit of a wormhole, rabbit hole to go down. Actually, the principle that I'm making, Steve, here is we know we have roles and responsibilities. We need to revisit those. There are some that are not there or not clear or whatever. We want to revisit those, but we're also talking about setting up roles like the events manager, the garden party managers, those things, creating those in a considered, oh, come on, I'm talking like a corporate person,
Yeah.
creating those, sensibly, and having those, that we can all agree to what those roles are, and hopefully making a number of those roles so that anybody who picks it up, comes in, does it, doesn't feel that he's actually signing up his life for, or her life for it, and we've got to define things. So my argument is we have roles there. We do need, if we're going to start taking this structure forward, we just need to have definitions. We need, so what I'm proposing with those three things are structure, timeline, and the phase steps to do it. Sorry, I am a corporate person. The steps to do it. So the steps to me to do are define what we want to do, who's going to do it, when they're going to do it, and also there should be a how in there. So how we do it and then when we do it. But that, if the principle, I could have made a very, very complicated PowerPoint slide here, but what I've done is chosen to do is put the top bits up. If you can agree the principle, and one of the core, if you agree the principle, the most important thing is to get back out into the membership and for our members to participate in two ways. One, helping. Two, coming along, just enjoying the events. And until that happens, none of this is going to be done.
I just say that you did an awful lot of work on that, so I thank you for all the time and effort you put into that. But I think the bottom line is without bodies and bodies and
Exactly.
feet, it doesn't happen.
That's exactly it. It is, just as that quote said, unless people come forward. So, first question, if you think that there's stuff there that we can do, are you happy? Second question is, are our members, are you as members and the people that are watching and hopefully the people that I will contact, so, are you content that we go out there and actually say to people, we want your details? I know that in the past there's been some resistance to people saying, I don't want to give my details, I don't want to give my, but if we do this properly, if we have, say, that panel of mentors, then we want to know where they are, how the telephone is, what the telephone is, their email, and those people, with their own agreement, to actually agree to being available at certain times.
My understanding is, for instance, is this membership list, which I've been on about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And don't just hang on before you go any further. I'm pretty sure that we gave authority when I was on committees and everything else, that people who didn't have a problem with their putting their names, addresses, and phone numbers had the ability on the membership form
I don't believe that's on the membership.
No, I know it's not. I know damn well it's not on there.
With all the greatest respect to the past, this is now.
Yeah.
And what I'm asking people to do, our members, which we've got through Kim and Angela, I'm seeking permission to go back out there and talk to our members and say, can you give me those information so that we, the committee, can start to build those things.
But surely you're asking them to volunteer. What you're actually asking is,
Yes, it is.
the members,
Yeah.
if you're willing to volunteer,
Yeah, give me that stuff.
things,
Yes.
Yeah.
do this thing, then
Well,
please give
it's the principle. That's. I don't know. I'm not. I get this. It's now, not then, and that's what I'm asking. It may well have been done, Steve. I don't know. I wasn't there. It's now. Doesn't matter, does it?
Steve's got to remember is that now we've got the GDPR regulation.
Yeah.
So there's certain measures. So we have to physically ask individuals what information they will now let
Be
it
free to. And then we would have to keep that on a database.
Well, let me just say to you, for instance, because we're both in the same organisation, that I now realise I went into the membership list and looked at all the members, and that then gave me the names and addresses of everybody, because I don't know what all the members are.
I don't
And it
want
was
to know.
our organisation, the one that you were involved in.
We're going down. Steve,
This is what's going on here.
yeah, Steve. This is going down a wormhole. What we're Derek has just identified. What we're asking for is going back out into the membership, and we know that there is a core of members that have said they're interested in helping in more than normal roles. They're happening. So going out there, asking them for their details so that we can assemble core groups.
But who is actually going to do that?
Me.
You're
It's
going
an
to do it.
email. It's an email.
Right.
But that, hopefully then I can start dividing it up and so other people do that as well.
Right.
But it's the point of principle is for me or us, the committee, to go out to our membership and say, amongst the 111 people, there is a core of people, A, that already do things, and B, that have expressed interest in doing more.
So basically, you're going to put the email out again.
Yes.
Thank you very much for responding to it. If you said you can help with gardening and there's
Correct.
20 of you, please can you give me your details
Right.
and we'll
Yeah.
get to it.
Details, skill sets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if someone says, yeah, I'm interested in being a mentor, I've got 112 years of beekeeping experience and I can do all this, then that person will be saying, yes, can you do that? And can, if you're saying yes, and that's the if, then this is the sort of thing we might ask you to do. Tell us then whether you're willing to do it. And by that zeroing down, but we'll put it in a better place that we can actually start to put some of these processes into place.
You've also got to let them know at the same time that certain amounts of their personal information will be circulated
Correct.
amongst that group.
Yes. It'll be circulated in a closed group. It would be circulated in whatever closed group we create with those people. But it would also be circulated within a wider group of maybe beginner beekeepers, but certainly not outside of the organisation. Yes, I know there's some, but again, we'd be looking for individual consent on that. And at the end of the day, it's about a common interest here. So, and we're not actually asking them to give their bank details. We're just asking them to give their emails and their telephone numbers or whatever it's the principle that I'm seeking some sort of agreement here. Because that's the only way some of these things are going to be done. Because otherwise, as Kate has said, these things aren't going to happen. And it remains to be a wish list.
Just wanted to ask, presumably you will be asking us to volunteer for certain jobs. Not
Yes.
If we're interested, we just give you the details and then you.
Yes. So one of the things I propose to do following this meeting is take that presentation and put it in a better form in the next newsletter with some of the next steps. Then say to people, give people fair warning that we will be going out with another set of requests to those people that have come forward, and perhaps others, to say, are you willing to put this forward, to take part? that will be in the next newsletter.
Would it be not better for us to self-identify ourselves?
That would be great, but I don't know how many people are.
As interested in a particular job. Not
Yeah. I'm very happy to have that happen. And I'm hoping that that's what will happen from tonight and online. But obviously there are going to be some people that we haven't reached tonight, that we still need to reach. I mean, that's why I was setting up.
Could potentially send surveys out for specific jobs with roles, so you reply to this with your email address as well, and that
And anything else that people
mop up every one in one go.
But on a slightly different topic now, but to do with going forward, the key issue is the lease. Because we've got thousands of pounds worth of work to do on the roof, which is worth doing if we're not going to extend the lease. So that's a key issue. So the sooner we know that,
it's a definite
purpose to carry on with all those other good ideas.
And I think also they're sort of intertwined, because getting that lease renegotiated, I'm sure that we will need to demonstrate to the owners that, you know, we are a vibrant club, and we're important, and we get out there. So again, if we've got something where we can say, this is what we do, this is what we're aiming to do, you know, to help us and renegotiate that. So yes, they're intertwined, and I know that that's something that certainly I've said that I would do.
It's the top of your action.
It was top of my action list.
After you finish the
I think you sound like my wife. You sound like my wife.
To be fair to Stuart, there is a break point in the lease,
November,
which was in November, I think it's next week.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do it before the break point in case they decided to break.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it gives us a bit more time.
And I know it's a horrible process. So,
well, finding someone to talk to is the first.
Finding someone to talk to, but it is a key thing, and we need to do it. So I put it up there, put my head on the line, and so it's something we need to do. You're absolutely right.
Right behind you.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, comments? I mean, is there something I missed out? Is there something I've overemphasized? What should we be doing next? Was that all just too much?
It's very ambitious, and I hope we can achieve it, but without the membership joining.
It's the key. It is the key.
So that's
Yeah.
So what's next, John?
Well, can I say thank you for, what about any comments on our?
Anybody online?
Anyone online? Any comments?
Stuart, can I ask, did you say we've got 111 members?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
It's a cold night.
yeah, but even so, that's
And
not,
online.
that's not right.
That's the challenge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a challenge. And it's a core, at the moment it's a core
Yeah.
of people that do things. And we're not alone in any, most clubs are like this. But, you know, we need to know and understand whether we have the ambition as a club to go forward and grow, or whether we just poodle along. That's not something the committee acts on behalf of its members, and on behalf of the members, I'm asking them now what they want to do. And if we get that sort of positive response, hopefully, from the people out there, and you, that, you know, we have got a basis for doing some of the things that we've put in that structure.
Maybe we should charge people who don't come to the club more for membership. You know, so your membership would be.
Well, hardcore.
Yeah, I think that would drive Angela nuts. If you don't
Have a match to their fees.
If you don't,
Yeah.
you don't come, the membership's more expensive.
I don't know, past chairs, have you got thoughts? I mean, it's something you've probably tried, and it's not, this isn't
No, I
new.
think it's partly a sign of the times that people aren't so keen to come out in person. I think it is trying to make it as attractive as you can.
Yeah.
But equally, you can't do it all for the members, and also really banging on about the fact that this is a huge asset, this piece of land and the building. It's not worth keeping it for
Unless,
30 or 40 members. I know we've got 100 and something, but if there's only a core of active members, you can't replace a £15,000 roof of 30 people.
No.
It's just not
Yeah. I mean,
So you either start using it or we will lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's,
Do you think it would be worthwhile identifying if a whole load of those members are only members for the B insurance?
I did ask it in the question there, it was a question there, but not many people responded to that one, which was,
no, I mean, maybe what we should be doing is
I mean,
targeting the ones that
Yeah.
that aren't responding to say, why aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you realise
Yeah.
that because you're not,
Yeah.
this is not going to carry on?
Have
Be very,
responded.
very-
I think,
Yeah,
I think that's
It
a very
is.
good point, because there are people that,
because the people that are present here know it and want it. It's the other half that didn't respond and aren't here
yeah,
who are sitting not perhaps realising that if they don't do something, they won't have it anymore at all.
you know, and they don't have a home, essentially,
Yeah.
I think it's a very good point, because there's obviously a core, or a group, big group, that just do that, and it's a good benefit.
They get the taxi, they get the
They get insurance and that's it, yeah, they don't want anything else, and you can then go on a WhatsApp group or whatever it is and do stuff at a distance with somebody else, so. Yeah, I think that's so, yeah, part of this is reflecting back to to members what's been said, and then, you know, really with their permission, you know, going back in there and being a bit more, for want of a better phrase, aggressive in drilling down and getting that, so.
I do think that our membership has been pretty constant ever since.
Yeah.
Well, when I was doing the membership sector, it's pretty constant, between 100 and 110-ish, and including country members and non members and God knows what. But before COVID, we did do more social stuff. And I think now that
There's been a societal change.
there has been a societal change, but we're going to get back to doing some more of that. I mean, for example, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but I think we're going to have a honey tasting. Is that right?
Yes,
December?
yes, that's
You know, which we haven't done for 5
Yeah.
since before 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
Hey, I came for them.
Yeah.
So, you know, that we're kind of getting back to some of the things we did before. And also, I'm going to, under AAB, I'm going to put a plea out for more helpers for Yule and the Bon Hall event. But we're going to go back to tasting on the stall, which I need to ask everybody who's bringing honey to bring a tasting.
Any, going back, before we close the topic, any other thoughts?
Is it viable to impose an attendance limit to be a member? So that you have to sort of say, you've got to, you know, come and show your face at least 20
Well, actually,
That's what I mean.
This is, was it Tony Blair, Willing Hearts and Minds? Good angel. So I'll go to the nice thing, bad angel, yes.
Yeah, but
But no, I don't, I think it's not really.
It's also really important that beekeepers are, responsible, belong to the organisation, belong to Surrey, belong to the BBKA for all sorts of other reasons, because then, you know, especially if they get onto bee base, you know, we know where the beekeepers are. When the Asian hornets turn up, we know where they are, and everybody can pull together on that one, you know, because that's going to be a struggle. Let's put it that way.
It's because some beekeepers in our association do live actually quite a long way away, don't they? From
Well, Alan's come from Reigate.
Yeah, well, I come from South Nutfield, so there's.
South Nutfield, and I know how far that is.
But they would be useful people for the Asian hornet thing.
So it's really important to keep the membership high as possible.
So no connection online, Nick? No.
I think you're going the right way, Stuart, that's the main thing, so.
Thank you. Okay, well, if there's general agreement and with the help of the committee and enthusiastic members, we'll start to put a structure to our calendar next year.
I think it's really good that there's been a discussion.
That's really
care. I know it's only the people in the room, but it shows they, and online, but it shows that they care.
Well, there's discussion. Yeah, I mean, I think I thought the response was stonking. You know, it's a really good response. 59% of that group, but you don't get it.
It's exactly the same with Reigate. I was at the AGM a couple of weeks ago. Most people don't have nothing to do with the club.
Yeah.
I think their number's 168, isn't it, to guess?
Yeah.
And people say, well, you should expand. He said, well, the chairman, Richard, said no, because 168 people don't turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always the usual suspects.
Yeah.
So we need to increase the number of usual suspects.
Yeah,
They've got any
absolutely. Thank you for the quote. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. We'll go on with that, and I'll send out more information to the. Well, first of all, I need to go back to my committee and get them to agree, but we'll send something out to the membership and start doing some probing in the nicest possible way. Thank you. Good.
So we need to move on to something more positive, which is the award of certificates for successful exam candidates.
That's us, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, so before.
Presentations. Yeah, go. Certificates.
Yes, certificates.
Certificates.
So
By Sir Howard.
we hand out the certificates. The certificates are for people that have taken written modules and done their basic exams, their practicals this year. But also, we'd just like to issue a huge vote of thanks to all the people that are currently so active and helping, and also the new lot of people that have stepped in to take over. So I've stepped back a bit from education, and Howard's come in all guns blazing to come in, and he's doing an amazing job. So really huge thanks to the new people that are coming in. We've had some new people join us on the APRI team on a Sunday going forward. And again, huge thanks to them, John and Angela and Nick and Mike and all the ones that are coming down on a Sunday at the moment are doing amazing work. Monitoring the hives, looking after them. John and his team have been doing a fantastic job doing the Varroa drops, and we're learning a lot about what's happening with Varroa this year and how prevalent it is, and maybe how we're going to change our treatments going forward. So there's a huge amount of work that's being done by everybody, Stuart, Jill, or everyone. So a huge vote of thanks to all of those people. And, you know, as I say, just get active. If you're not already active in helping, come and help us. We need you. So, anything else? Write it down.
Oh,
And then, yeah, so how would
are.
hand out the certificates?
Yeah. We'll start with the basic assessment certificates. Big thanks to John for helping run the revision course for that, which I think got some of us through it. I know it got me through it. We'll be doing that again for this year's people. If you haven't already got your basic assessment, please sign up, contact your education, and we'll contact you when we're starting to do the course. So first of all, Michael Fairweather. A nice certificate and a badge to someone to your be soon to impress your friends, family, and neighbours. There you go, Michael.
Well done.
Cheers. Next one is me.
Yes.
We've got some people who aren't here tonight, so we'll make sure they get their certificate. That's Kathy Gunn, who's got that as well. Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And these are all the basics, yeah. And also Caroline Heraclius, I hope I said that correctly, who's also got her basic, but unfortunately can't be with us due to family commitments. So we go, 5 of us passed it this year, which is not too bad. And we're looking to up the numbers of that. I'd just like to point out the reason I'm on the committee in the first place was because I was bribed to do it in return for somebody doing their basic assessment as soon as possible.
And did that person on it?
Yeah. Not yet.
Next year.
Next year.
Right. Just so as everybody knows.
Yeah.
Screw me out of it now. Following on from that, we've got 2 people who passed advanced modules, module 6. Helen sadly can't be with us tonight, so we'll make sure she gets that. And Jenny.
Some of you can go back.
I think that's the BBKA, they're cheap, they should hang out more badges.
So Helen, sorry.
One other thing, I'm very keen for more people to start looking at doing the advanced modules. At the moment, we are the only division in Surrey with no qualified beekeeper. Now, it's not the be all and end all, but if Croydon can manage to have one, I think we should do as well. So that's it for the certificates.
Thank you very much.
I don't know, you got the results for the distinction.
No, it's on individual certificates. You've seen that one. Have you got?
Yeah, I've seen that, I've seen Jenny's. That's the
We've got the
basic-
list of vouchers there.
Don't worry. Sorry.
Yes.
You have to
Do we need to read them all out? Can we do it?
Jill was going to print some vouchers, some actual things off. Jill, could you? Could you print off? I can. I'll give you a list.
I think have a list of names and then I'll do that.
Okay. Well, just say that we are the warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say that?
I think we need to leave the list of names so that you know what's helping.
They're read the list out. Let me just find the list.
Did you say, is it an expense or?
So in addition to everybody passing their exams, so well done to them and to their tutors.
Yeah.
And the tutors last year were John and Helen for the beginners. And next year, it's going forward, it's going to be John and Ellie going forwards, as Helen is stepping back from doing that. And then we're going to move on to thanking everybody who's helped. I have to apologise. I forgot all about the fact that I was printing off certificates, but vouchers for people, sorry. But we do have a list of names and they will all be...
You'll get an email in about 3 minutes. We'll probably do an email.
Our apologies to all of those people, there's nothing meant
Well,
by
I
it.
just, it's everybody who's involved in the
shop.
so the shop team, which was obviously run by Helen and now Nigel. Kate's on the shop team, Jenny's on the shop team, I'm on the shop team, and Anita's on the shop team. That's the people who are here.
Yeah, we're going to be at risk of
Also,
sounding like the
Giselle so there's the people that you've seen. Oh, thank you.
Oh, right on you.
Right, excellent. So, okay, Sophia, who's leaving the shop team and the committee, and I think that's it. And then the people on the committee, so Kim was the membership secretary, Nick's the webmaster, I'm the trustee, so Kate's the treasurer, Liz has been monitoring the info thing, the email address, and Diane and Sam, who are coming off the committee.
I think what we'll do is
Kathy was on the committee anyway, but I think it's important that everybody knew, we will send out the list, it will be on the minutes from here, but also for the apiary team, and there are new people on the apiary team, so and these have come from the beginners, so Choi, Sarah, I don't know, Sarah and Dick, Nick Thomas, Helen Brady are on there, as well as Jane and Jane, Mike, Angela and John, who've been on it for a while. And I think Nigel is also, so he sings the apiary team. And then there's the education. QRP. Not on the apiary team. You don't have on a Sunday. Howard's on the apiary team.
And the QRP.
And so I will add a full list to the minutes.
And we'll circulate that. And there'll be a recognition of.
And yes, everybody will also, but they're the kind of people, you want more of them, and the club can't run without them because they're responsible for keeping the bees happy, keeping the members happy, and training the new people. So.
Trying not to sound like the Oscars, I personally would like to thank all of those people. I'd also like to thank everybody that's been on the committee and served on that, and especially the people that have served for many long years than me, who are now stepping back. And I know they've done a huge amount and they're deeply appreciated. They know who they are. We will mention them in the newsletter, but deep thanks and thank you very much for all their energy. Thank you.
We do have some gifts for them.
Oh.
Not yet, not done yet. You do the gifts. Do you know the names? Oh, they're on there.
Oh, they're on there.
So you deal with that, Stuart.
Diane.
Here,
Not
not
here.
here.
Him, not here. This is deliberate. Kathy.
Not here.
Comedy, isn't it?
They definitely gone, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Fiona.
Mine's up.
Which one? Red or white, Fiona?
Red, please.
So just to say thanks to Fiona, who's leaving the committee after many years of noble service as secretary, being on the QRP and and everything, and helping with events and things like that. So
That's known, and she's not here either.
Right, and there's all this wine as well.
So that's fine, but there's,
Oh.
there's a bottle of wine, Derek. Oh, Derek, when do I? Red.
Yay, Derek. Thank you.
been instrumental in things like the original fire protection plan, the building maintenance, walking on the roof, the QRP. So
you get chocks as well.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right, well, we shall find some nefarious means to get this to people. I think that's a place there.
Okay.
Well, Sam's card is there. Obviously, Sam's.
I can take Helen's because I can drop it round.
Okay, let's sort that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right.
And just one more vote of thanks to Stuart for his leadership of the Wayward Committee and the club. So thank you, Stuart. I should just make a quick AOB. The AOB.
Oh, yes, sorry,
Anything else
AOB.
you'd like to raise? I've got Leslie's defibrillator stuff.
Any AOBs, chaps?
Anything else that you'd like to?
Well, thank you very much indeed. I hereby declare the meeting closed and we can socialise.
Yeah.